reporting from the nation's capital.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. We want to begin tonight with what has been a brutal day for social media giant Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. All of them knocked offline for about 6 hours today, leaving billions of users locked out. The cause of the outage still not clear as of tonight, but there are reports that even the systems inside Facebook were down, so employees had difficulty communicating and troubleshooting the problem. Facebook's stock taking a nosedive today, sliding nearly 5%. And Forbes says Mark Zuckerberg's fortune declined by nearly $6 billion. But the greatest cost to the social media giant may be new complaints made to the SEC. Those allegations are from a former Facebook employee, Frances Haugen, who copied tens of thousands of pages of internal research. She accuses Facebook of putting the company's profits out of the public good. CBS's Chris Van Cleve is going to lead us off with new reporting on Facebook that you didn't see on 60 Minutes. Good evening, Chris.
Nora, tonight Facebook is responding publicly for the first time to those complaints filed with regulators. It says any sense that it had any responsibility for January 6th is, quote, absurd, but those tens of thousands of pages of documents are raising real questions about what Facebook did and didn't do.
Facebook over and over again chose to optimize for its own interests, like making more money.
That belief prompted Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen to file at least 8 separate complaints with the Securities and Exchange Commission, obtained by CBS News from a congressional source. Among the allegations, the social network misled investors and the public about its role perpetuating misinformation and violent extremism relating to the 2020 election and January 6th insurrection, including removing safety systems put in place ahead of the election. Haugen speaking to 60 Minutes' Scott Pelley.
As soon as the election was over, they turned them back off, or they changed the settings back to what they were before to prioritize growth over safety.
Facebook disputes that and says it maintained necessary safeguards, adding in a statement it has expressly disclosed to investors the risk remains of misinformation, hate speech, and extremism occurring on its platforms.
What happened between Election Day and January 6th on the platform?
There were a lot of people who were angry, fearful, so they spread those groups to more people. And then when they had to choose which content from those groups to put into people's newsfeed, they picked the content that was most likely to be engaged with, which happened to be angry, hateful content. And so imagine you're seeing in your newsfeed every day, the election was stolen, the election was stolen, the election was stolen. At what point would you storm the Capitol?
Internal company documents obtained from a congressional source show in 2019, a year after Facebook changed its algorithm to encourage engagement, its own researchers identified a problem. They set up this test account following former President Trump, the former First Lady, and Fox News. Within a day, the algorithm was recommending polarizing content. Conspiracy theory recommendations started on day 2. After about a week, the account received a QAnon suggestion. By week 2, its newsfeed was comprised by and large of misleading or false content. And in week 3, the account's newsfeed was an intensifying mix of misinformation, misleading and recycled content, polarizing memes, and conspiracy content interspersed with occasional engagement bait.
And you can say, how did that happen? Right? Like, why are we taking these incredibly out there topics, QAnon, right? Crazy conspiracies. Why are these the things that Facebook is choosing to show you? And it's because those things get the highest engagement.
Gasoline on a fire.
Gasoline on a fire.
Facebook says it uses things like that test account to identify security issues and was involved in its decision to ban QAnon from its platforms. The company tells us that hate speech has declined by 50% on its platforms in the last 3 quarters. Facebook's entire statement is online at cbsnews.com. Haugen is set to testify before the Senate Commerce Committee tomorrow, where she will tell senators they need to better regulate Facebook. Nora?
Really interesting new details. Chris Van Cleve, thank you.